Hit it. Hit it. Okay. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وعظيمنا وحبيبنا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ثم أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, one of our great teachers or our great scholars of the past, Imam al-Ghazali, he mentions a story in one of his books. In one of his books, he says, he paints a picture essentially in this book. He gives you an example. He says that there is a man in a jungle. A man in a jungle is being chased by a lion. And he's running, and he's running, and he's running. And as he's running to get away from this lion, he sees a well. And he sees a rope going down this well. So the man, he jumps into the well, goes down the well to escape this lion. And as he's going down, before he gets all the way down, somewhere near the middle, he looks down and he sees a giant serpent or a giant snake opening his mouth wide, waiting for him to fall. He looks up and he sees that the rope, on the rope, at the tip of the rope, the top of the rope, there is a black mouse and a white mouse nibbling, eating away at the rope. And he's realizing his incredible, unfortunate circumstance and his situation. He has a lion chasing him. He has a serpent that's under him. He has two mice who are eating away at his lifeline of survival. And in this well, he looks straight at the wall and he notices that there's a little hole in the well in front of him. And in this hole, he sees a honeycomb. Bees that have been making honey, sweet honey. You could smell it. You could taste it. And he reaches over and he tastes a little bit of that honey. And for a split moment, this man has forgotten about the lion. He's forgotten about the serpent and the snake. He's forgotten about the fact that the rope might break at any moment. And he's enjoying the sweetness of this honey. Subhanallah. And Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah, he says, the tiger or the lion that was chasing him, that was death. Death is always behind us, chasing us. Whenever we stumble, it's going to grab us. The serpent in the well, the snake in the well, that is your grave. Wide open, ready to take you at any time. The rope, that is your life. The black mouse and the white mouse is your night and your day. It nibbles away every second that goes by. Your life is going. Everything in your life is leaving. One day we're going to enter the grave. One day death will catch up to us. And he said the honeycomb was the dunya. The distraction. The thing that made you forget everything that was the reality of your life. For a split second, it made you forget about the reality of your situation. And that was the honey. And you took a little sip of it and you forgot, but now you remember. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He mentions to us. He says, اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب وله وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد. اعلموا, verily, this life, what is it? لعب, له. It's filled with amusement. It's filled with entertainment. It's filled with boasting and showing off. I have this car. I have this house. I have this degree. I have made this much money. I have worn this dress. I bought this flower and my birthday party and my this party and my wedding and my this and my mahar and the list goes on of distractions. This is what this life is. لعب وله. And not only that, we take it a step further. And my children is like this. And he accomplished this. And he became a doctor. And he became an engineer. And she became a this. And she, subhanallah. How much more boasting, competition, amusement, luxury do you want, ya ikhwati fillah? This is the world that you live in. This is the distraction that's caused this pain in our hearts. كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يقول حطاما. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, it's the same as the individual who's a gardener. A gardener, what does he do? He plants a seed. He waters the plant grows, it becomes something magnificent and beautiful. But does that magnificence and beauty, does it stay? At some point, the flower or the tree or the plant will diminish. It will crumble. It will become like dust. It will become like the earth. And it will move away and it will disappear. And that is your dunya. One day it will be gone. One day it will disappear. This life is just a distraction. La'ibun wa lahu. Don't be distracted. Don't allow the dunya to delude you. The dunya has deluded us. Ya ikhwati fillah. The dunya has distracted us from the reality of what we're supposed to be facing in front of us. The dunya has distracted us from the importance of our brothers and sisters all over the world, especially in Palestine. The dunya has distracted us with taxes, with money making, schemes, entrepreneurship, startups. And I'm not saying these are all bad things. They're all good things. There can be good from them. But when they're distractions, when they take you away from the remembrance of Allah, it means nothing. It does nothing. It has no value, no barakah in it for you. This is the life we live in right now. زُيِّنَ لَهُمْ سُوءَ عَمَلِهِمْ. Their wrong actions appear good to them. That's how it feels. You think you're doing something good, right? You bought a car, but then you go and you show off the car. You did something for your brothers and sisters, and then you go and you make an announcement that I did this thing for my brothers and sisters. You go and you bought somebody a gift. Look at the gift that I bought this person. You justify a good action as if it's right, but it's wrong. You're justifying it for yourself that it's right. زُيِّنَ لَهُمْ سُوءَ عَمَلِهِمْ. Their wrong actions appear good to them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in Surah Al-Baqarah, يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. He says that يُخَادِعُونَ, which and then in Warish he says وَمَا يُخَادِعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. He says they try to وَمَا يُخَادِعُونَ, meaning that they attempt to fool themselves. And in the first one, they are trying to fool Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Fool Allah? You're going to fool Allah with what? يُخَادِعُونَ اللَّهَ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَمَا يَخْدَعُونَ إِلَّا أَنفُسَهُمْ وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ. They only fool themselves. You're fooling Allah with what you think is correct and what you think is right? You think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't know what is distracting you? That you are the one? People know themselves, brothers and sisters. You're conscious. When you make decisions, you're conscious. The intellect is very strong. You have to remember that when you make an action, when you do anything in your life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware. You might be justifying it to yourself, but in the end, you are the one who is responsible. You are the one who has to take responsibility for your actions. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to the straight path and to keep us from among these distractions in this life and from our children. Allahumma ameen. Taqaddam ikhwati fillah. Please move forward, make room for your brothers and sisters. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَكُمْ تَفَسَّحُوا فِي الْمَجَالِسِ فَافْسَحُوا يَفْسَحِ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. Make room for your brothers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make room for you, inshallah. Barakallahu feekum. Jazakum Allah khair. And as we continue, inshallah, I want to mention a specific story before I end here and move into some critical things that we can do. The Sahaba, they were leaders. The Sahaba, they were examples for us. And they were individuals who always utilized every single moment of every single day as much as they could. I'm going to give you an example at the end. But before I give you the example, I'm going to give you an example that maybe we cannot reach, or it's a goal that we have to face, or it's something that we should look up to. Umar ibn Khattab, he narrates, he says that in the time of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu an, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was the Khalifa at the time. And I want you to listen to the details of this example. What kind of leader what kind of leader we were having in front of us, what kind of leadership we need to take upon ourselves in our own home. He said, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, I would always see him. He would come to the masjid. He would come to lead the people in prayer, in Salat al-Fajr. Allahu Akbar. He would finish the prayer. He would do his dhikr. He would finish that. And then I would see Abu Bakr every single day. He takes this long walk. I don't know where he's going. I don't know what he's doing, but today I want to know what's going on. So he said, one day I decided to follow Abu Bakr. I followed Abu Bakr and I walked in a way where I couldn't be found or I couldn't be seen. And I followed him and I went and I went and I went. And this is in Medina. And now he's saying that we went so far, so wide, that we were outside the city of Medina. And then I saw that there was a little home, very small, tiny home with basic things outside, inside. And he said that I saw Abu Bakr enter this home. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, he was in there for, I don't know, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour. He said, Umar al-Khattab, he said, now the sun is up. The sun came up. Everything is clear in the world. And then I saw Abu Bakr leave. And so I took it upon myself. I went to the home. I knocked on the door of this home. And Umar ibn Khattab, he says, Salamu alaikum. And an old woman answered, Alaykum as-salam. And this woman, she was a very old woman. She had lots of wrinkles. She was blind. And Umar ibn Khattab, he saw inside there was children, orphans, running around in the home. And Umar ibn Khattab, he says, who was this individual what's going on here? Like, what's your situation? She said, I'm an old woman, I'm blind, I have this, I am sick, I can't take care of myself. And then Umar ibn Khattab, he said, so who was this individual that came and went and what's going on? She says, Wallahi, I don't know his name. Wallahi, I don't know his name. He never told me who he is. I just know in the time after Fajr, he comes to my house. He cleans my house. He makes the dough. He completes the rice for the day. He makes my family bread. He washes our clothes and hangs them. And then he leaves. And Umar ibn Khattab said, do you pay him? Does he work for you? What is this? She said, no. He does this. He says, Salaam alaikum. He does his work and he leaves. Amir al-Mu'mineen, ikhwati fillah. Amir al-Mu'mineen, the leader of this ummah, taking care of his people individually. And you and I, we have to ask ourselves, are we distracted? We're distracted. We're distracted because of many reasons upon which we will continue in the second khutbah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. يقول سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الناس إن وعد الله حق فلا تغرنكم الحياة الدنيا ولا يغرنكم بالله الغرور. O humanity, O people, the word, the kalima, everything related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is haqq. Everything is the truth about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Do not be distracted. Do not allow the deceiver to trick you The deceiver of deceivers is tricking you every single moment of every single day. Look at your minutes, look at your seconds. You are constantly distracted. How often are we sitting there on our phones scrolling? How often are we looking at social media and comparing to our lives and saying, why don't I have this and why don't I have this? How distracted are we with the clothes that we wear, with the fashion that we make, with the work that we do? And we've forgotten the fundamentals of three things. I want to give you advice. Number one, start with Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad. Where is your salawat, ya ikhwati fillah? Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. Where is your salawat, ya ikhwati fillah? Number one, ask yourself this question. Where is your salawat on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Do you think that you're guaranteed on the shafa'ah on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah? Do you think you and I are guaranteed without any work? Do you think that it's just going to happen and that we're going to be saved all of a sudden? You have to put in the work. This deen is about putting in work. And all it takes is the movement of the tongue. So avoid your phones. Put those distractions away. Open your tasbih if you have a tasbih. Or use your fingers. Or use your intellect and use your heart. And repeat after it over and over and over again. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Number one. Number two, I want all of you to, before you leave, whether it's in your sujood at the end of the rak'ah or one of the rak'ahs of the prayer, or in your dua after the prayer, or while you're walking out and saying dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I want you to be thankful for three things. That's it. Three things. Be thankful to Allah. Perhaps alhamdulillah, I have good health today. Be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my children are okay. Be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's given you provision. He's given you money. He's given you a place to live. Pick three things before you walk out the masjid. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those three things. Don't be distracted. Don't rush. Don't rush to the dunya. This is your moment to close the dunya. This is your moment to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The people around the world are suffering because we have forgotten. We have forgotten Allah. They are the ones that are remembering. They are the ones that are suffering. So what will it take for you to remember three things to be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, من وجد خيرا فليحمد الله ومن وجد غير ذلك فلا يلومن إلا نفسه. Whoever sees good, let him or her thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whoever sees other than good in this dunya and in this life, let him only blame himself or herself. Because no matter what happens in this world, no matter what happens in your life, everything for the believer is good. عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ فَإِنَّ أَمْرُهُ كُلُّهُ لَهُ خَيْرٌ. How wondrous is the affair of the believer. Everything that the believer is given, it is good for him. Subhanallah. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us people of thankfulness. Allahumma ameen. And the last thing, my brothers and sisters, is before you leave today, I want you to say salam to someone with a sadaqah. You know the sadaqah? I don't mean money. I don't mean anything. Maybe they're raising money. Give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the sadaqah I'm speaking of is afshulu salama baynakum. You are about to enter the month of Ramadan. You are about to enter the month of blessing. Bless your brothers and sisters around you. Give them a smile. Give your brothers or sister a smile. Say salamu alaikum. Spread that love amongst you. Why do I see depressed faces around me? Why don't I see smiles around me? Why don't I see happiness around me? Yes, we are suffering. Yes, we have problems. Yes, we have distractions. Yes, we have issues all over the world. But it doesn't mean that we don't have time to thank each other, to support each other. If we don't give support to each other, if I don't give you a smile, you don't give me a smile, what's the point of this ummah? What is the point of you and I being brothers and sisters in Islam? Subhanallah. Before you leave today, that is the last thing I'd like you to do. To give salam to someone you don't recognize, you don't know. And if you recognize them, alhamdulillah, no problem. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us to the straight path. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our children from all evils of this world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to support us in all of our affairs. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداء الدين. اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك والغنيمة من كل بر والسلامة من كل إثم. لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا وقضيتها يا رب العالمين. اللهم أصلح أحوالنا وأحوال المستضعفين من المؤمنين في كل مكان. اللهم أصلح أحوالهم. اللهم سدد رميهم. اللهم اجمع كلمتهم على الحق المبين يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم أصلح أحوالنا وأحوال المستضعفين من المؤمنين في فلسطين يا رب العالمين، في فلسطين وفي غزة يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم اللهم يا رب العالمين اشفي مرضاهم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم تقبل شهدائهم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم أعد المسجد الأقصى إلى رحاب المسلمين. اللهم أعد المسجد الأقصى إلى رحاب المسلمين وارزقنا فيها صلاة قبل الممات يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا عذاب النار. وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. عباد الله اتقوا الله اذكروا الله فإن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
Assalamu alaikum, brother, please move to your right side, and those brothers who pray on hardwood, please follow yellow tape. There is a yellow spots on hardwood, so your line will be straight. Move to your right side. Don't wait for other brothers that they will cover the line. Please move forward, take a step, move forward. There is a lot of brothers are standing outside in cold weather. Please move to your right side and fill the gaps. Jazakallah.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استقيموا واعتدلوا. Straighten your lines. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ألهاكم التكاثر حتى زرتم المقابر كلا سوف تعلمون ثم كلا سوف تعلمون كلا لو تعلمون علم اليقين لترون الجحيم ثم لترونها عين اليقين ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.